Hello student, hi, good evening. So today we are going to see about we are going to see the see what controller. Okay, so what is the we are going to see what is the difference between compensator and controller. Okay, so we are going to see compensator, compen, compensator, compensator, and here is my compensator and controller, compensator and controller. See, what is compensator and what is controller? Okay, so what is compensator and what is controller? First of all, we should know the compensator and controller. Okay, so within the system, as you know very well, within the system, within the control system. Okay, so what is compensator, what is controller? So compensator and controller, where what is the main purpose of this? Okay, so as we know very well, if we have some system. Okay, so I have some system, I have a system. Okay, system. So this is my system. Okay, so this system, if I want to see that this system should work in the proper range, first of all this system must work in proper range. Okay, the system must work, the system must work in proper proper range. Okay, in proper range, system must work in proper range. Okay, system must work in proper range. This is must. Okay, so system must work in proper range. For working in proper range, for that what we need, whatever the system, that is whatever the parameter that is within the system. Okay, so whatever the parameter, every parameter, you can say every parameter, every parameter within the system, every parameter within the system, within the system, every parameter within the system must must work in proper range, proper proper range. Okay, so that must work in proper range. Okay, so this is what this we can see. So this means what? For this we require what? Compensator means there is a system. Okay, so there is a system within this. For this system, first of all we have a system. That system must work properly, with proper range. Okay, for that what we need that whatever the parameters that is within the system must work properly, what are those parameters? Those parameter is nothing but like your bandwidth, like speed. Okay, speed of the system, like bandwidth, speed, and what in transient mode. If you see transient mode, rise time, peak time, settling time. Okay, so before before settling time. Okay, so before settling time, whatever the parameter is coming within the system. Okay, and your gain margin, your phase margin, gain margin, phase margin, and relative stability. Okay, all these parameters. Okay, so relative relative stability, relative stability. Okay, so all these parameters must work in proper range. Okay, so proper range. For that we need what? For that we need compensator, compensator is required. To make all the parameters, that is within the system, so that they must work in proper range. Okay, so proper range, to compensate them. So in order to work in the proper range, so that this system will work properly. So this system will work properly, so therefore the compensator is required. With compensator is connected to the system. Okay, connected to the system, in order to make all the parameter that is present within the system, so that Okay, so within the system to work in the proper range, to work in the proper range. So therefore this system will work properly, this system will work properly. Once the system is working properly, then will come the controller. Then this system is proper. So once the system is what proper, this is my system, so this is my proper system. Okay, proper. So this is my system which is proper. So system, okay, so and this system is proper. Okay, but here the system is not proper. Here the system is like, see, improper. Okay, the system is improper. System is improper means all whatever the parameter that is not working in the proper range. So for that we need compensator. So then this compensator will compensate all these parameters that is within the system, and they will work in the proper range. So once they will work in the proper range, so then our system is working in proper range, means system is proper. Once the system is proper, then we are what eligible to apply the input, to apply input to the proper system. Once we apply the input to the system, then we get what? Output. We get output. So but at the output, what happen? See, if we are applying input, okay, so then what happen? Initially there is a transient, then after that the response will reach to what? Steady state in this state. Okay, so in this state. But if you see here, this is our what? This is my desired what? This is my desired. This is my desired output. This is my desired output. But I am getting this output. This output. This is my what? Actual output. Actual output. This is my actual output, and this is my desired output. But the difference between this is what? Steady state error. What? Steady state error. So this is my steady state error. Hmm? This difference. What? Steady state error. Steady state error. Okay, so steady state error. So steady state error is nothing but it is the difference between what? Between the desired output and actual output. So therefore, in order to reduce this steady state error, we require controller. We require what? Controller. So therefore, now it is clear what? It is clear that compensator is required to make the system proper. Yes, where the compensator is required to make the system proper, to make the system proper in such a way that whatever the parameter that is present within the system, they must work in the proper range. Okay, what are those parameters? Like bandwidth, speed, rise time. Okay, so rise time, peak time, gain margin, phase margin, and relative stability. Okay, so these kind of parameter within the system must work in proper range. So once they will work in proper range, then our system is proper. So our system is proper. So once the system is proper, then after that we are eligible to apply the input to the system. Okay, once we are applying the input to the system, we are getting the output. We are getting output, and this output is over actual output. But over desired output is somewhat different. So this is my desired output, but this actual output is not exactly equal to the desired output. So therefore the difference between this desired output and actual output is nothing but over steady state error. So therefore, in order to reduce this steady state error, we require controller. So that's why we are applying here controller through feedback. Okay, so therefore, in order to reduce what? Steady state error. So final conclusion is what? Conclusion is that compensator is required to make the system proper, and controller is required to reduce the steady state error in the system once the system is proper. So that is about compensator and controller. So that's all for today. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.